Hello all, my name is Howie and welcome back. In today's video, I'll be going over my thoughts and feelings about Ahsoka Episode 3. As per usual, this video will contain spoilers for Ahsoka Episode 3, so if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it and then come back to the video. I'll be here waiting when you're done. Now, on to the video. Now, this episode didn't really seem to advance the story plot very much. We got Ahsoka and Sabine traveling to Cetos and Hera trying unsuccessfully to get the Republic to marshal some troops to Cetos. There was some space combat and we got to see how well certain characters got along with each other. This episode really focused on the smaller character moments and it did it, I think, very, very well. If there was one overarching theme or main plot point to this episode, it was seeing Ahsoka and Sabine start to rebuild their trust in each other. In that first training scene with Howie, we see Sabine is really not great with her lightsaber technique. The paddle showing where she was swinging versus where she was supposed to be hitting showed that she had a lot of work to do. Now when Ahsoka steps in, we get this great callback to episode 4. Sabine with the blast shield down and even saying, some of the same lines as Luke. I can't see, how am I supposed to fight? It was a great homage to the movie that started it all.
I can't see, how am I supposed to fight?
With the blast shield down, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?
And I think Ahsoka's response was equally as great and really telling of where things are going from here. I want you to see with more than just your eyes. I think it was a great tribute and a great sign that there are some great things to come in the future. And another part that I really, really loved was watching Sabine struggle. She's the only character outside of Ezra that we've seen struggle to use the Force. And I'm certain she will eventually be able to use the Force with ease. But watching her struggle on camera was so great to see. It was a great reminder that not everyone who's a Jedi has this innate talent with the Force. Sometimes you've got to work at it. Most of the time you have to work at it. And I think that was great to see, and I think it also rang true for the character. This struggle is really going to come down to the fact that she's already had some previous training as a Mandalorian warrior. I mean, again, you compare this scene to the scene that happened with Luke. Luke got it right away, A, because he's Luke Skywalker, but more so I think it had to do with the fact that he didn't have any previous training to rely on. So he was a bit of a blank slate when it came to fighting and learning the Force. Now, Sabine, on the other hand, has been trained to rely on her body and has very honed skills. And so she's been struggling to let go of that training and rely on the Force instead of herself. As we saw in Rebels, she's already a great warrior, but having to let go of that and have the Force flow through her and be part of how she fights is going to be a huge struggle for her. It's probably going to be her biggest struggle and her biggest character arc throughout the entire show. And I think Ahsoka sums it up really, really well when she's talking to Hu Yang in the cockpit. She says, I don't need Sabine to be a Jedi. I need Sabine to be herself. She's really outlined, like I said, that whole struggle of where Sabine is at and where she's going. If Sabine is going to be a Jedi, she's going to have to figure out a way how to marry her Mandalorian past with her Jedi future. She still needs to be herself and not some stoic Jedi that's missing, the fire and stubbornness that comes from being a Mandalorian. Now, all of these character moments were great and were some of my favorite moments, but there were also some nice nods to Rebels in there as well. Getting to see Jason Syndulla in live action was wonderful, and hearing him talk about, Aunt Sabine, it tells you just how close the Ghost crew found family got. Interestingly enough, the space battle also gave us another great character moment. Watching Ahsoka choose to trust her Padawan and work with her Padawan to save themselves. Ahsoka up to that point had been not communicating very clearly and had just been trying to stay alive, but she chose to start communicating with her Padawan and trusting her Padawan, and it worked out in their favor. And watching Sabine get excited and gain confidence with each moment and each successful kill in the battle was great, and another way to see their relationship really blossom and bloom.
Great kid! Don't get cocky!
By making that choice, Ahsoka was admitting that she needed Sabine just as much as Sabine needed her. And while Ahsoka didn't say it in so many words, her actions showed that she made that realization and that they needed to work together to get out of that battle alive. I also can't bring up that space battle without talking about Ahsoka standing on the ship, and I thought it was amazing and hilarious. She looked like a Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z. I mean, if you put her in her spacesuit next to a picture of Vegeta, they look almost identical. I did have a bit of an issue with the blocking of ship's lasers with a lightsaber. Like, yes, technically I think that works, but normally they're going to be a lot bigger than something you can block with a lightsaber and that kind of stuff, and it kind of stretched the boundaries of my believability, but not to the point where it broke them. But the space battle also gave us another interesting character moment with Merrick, Shin, and Morgan. You know, I know the internet is going rife with who is Merrick and who is this person going to be. I have a thought, but I'm going to save that for another video. But this moment started to show that there is some dissent amongst the ranks of the bad guys. It's very clear that Shin doesn't like or respect Morgan, and the feeling may be mutual. This again plays into those thoughts that at some point we're going to see a split amongst the bad guys. I am also starting to think that Merrick is part of Baylan Skoll's team and not working directly from Morgan. With just how he interacted with Shin and things like that, it seemed like he'd taken orders from her before. The last thing I'll mention is I really liked seeing the Purrgil again. I think they're going to be a huge plot point in this story here. Looking ahead, I think we're going to see Morgan escape to the new galaxy. As much as our heroes try to stop her, she is going to get to the galaxy far, far, far away at the end of episode 4, kind of as a mid-season finale. And I'm betting in episode 5, we will see the Purrgil take Sabine and Ahsoka to that same galaxy. And it's going to happen with Sabine making a connection with the Purrgil through the Force, similar to how Ezra did it. And I think that is going to be her moment where she starts to realize that she has Force capabilities and she can use the Force. And I think that's going to be really, really cool to see, and it's going to be a really powerful moment, but it is something that I think is coming down the line there. After that, I don't know. I know we'll see Thrawn at some point. Will we see Ezra? Who knows? Either way, I am very, very excited. I think this episode did a lot to assuage some of my concerns that I mentioned in my last video, and I really am looking forward, even more so now than I was before, to what's next for Ahsoka and Sabine and the rest of this show. I can't wait. So, those are my thoughts on episode 3 of Ahsoka. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Did you have any favorite moments, or is there anything you disagreed with me about? Let me know down below, and we will have a conversation there. If you like seeing content like this and like hearing my thoughts on the Ahsoka series, feel free to subscribe and join us along the way for this journey. And again, my name is Howie. Thanks for watching.